We're here. We are live. We are at Charlie's. So here we are. By the way, I'm Wolfman Jeff from Soccer in the South.
Adam Roos from SoccerChatt.
Alex Fortney from SoccerChatt.
All right.
It's the holiday combo episode that hasn't been anticipated since the Star Wars special in the 80s, I think.
I think so. It was actually
SoccerChatt in the South.
It was 70s. It was the 70s. I remember it very well. But yeah, this has been. We actually have talked about getting on each other's channels for a while.
Yeah.
But once the restraining orders have been lifted, we now can come together, and this can happen.
That's excellent.
Outside of our love for Charlie's Barbecue, which is genuine because they're not paying us anything, they just feed us great food. We have a great love for soccer and for our community, in particular our love for the Red Wolves. So sometimes when we're going to say something that's maybe critical for our side, it's because we love our side so much and we want more and expect more, but we're very proud to be Red Wolf supporters. So looking back this past year, we finished up. I gotta say, it was our best year we've ever had for the Red Wolves.
Yeah, it was the best of times and the worst of times.
Yes, it was. It was really those things. Looking back on the pitch, we've had, I think, a lot of different players that we've had mixed feelings about on the field, and things to get us excited about the future. And some we're really hoping not to see mentioned on the signings.
Or we're excited that we've had confirmed not being mentioned on the site.
Yes. So who do we, as far as for last year, who was it that when you saw them on the pitch, you were excited to see them play? Who really were you rooting for this year?
For me, it was two. So it's almost like two different halves of the year. So I was really thoroughly enjoyed watching Vangel Zaguro for the first half and part of the second half of the year. Just watching his passion for the game. He was one of the most engaged players with the fans, even with the fact that he didn't speak any English when he came over here, and he made an effort of reaching out to the fans, especially kids and such. So I was rooting for him for more than just what he did on the field, but also who he was off the field. But then this second half, because I'm just that weird dude that does that, I became obsessed slightly. Obsessed, a good word for it?
I think so.
Yeah, I became obsessed with a guy from Scotland, in Greg Hurst. Because I just think he brought something to the team that was missing, and I'm excited about the fact that they've announced that he will be back, because I think that type of attacking, really high-quality play with your feet and that type of stuff was missing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You watched our team, there was a lot of bad first touches and a lot of poorly chosen avenues for passes to go to, and I felt like whenever you saw Hurst and Beattie getting together, it was like they just knew what to do, because they both had that talent level that was not necessarily missing, but wasn't being executed by some of the rest of the team.
So I'll piggyback on that. The signing of Greg Hurst at the end of the year, he was a very exciting player to watch, and he really gave the team a lift down the stretch as they were trying to fight for the playoff spot. One of the other people that I noticed he combined very well with, and it breaks my heart that he's not coming back, is Cito Seon.
Yeah.
All the way back into the preseason, he was one of my favorite attacking players to watch, someone who took the shot as soon as he had the window, was very aggressive in those kind of things, was looking for good combination passes. I was excited watching Stephen Beattie. I thought he was a good presence out there. I think when they made the change to move him to more of a midfielder role than playing as a wing attacker, I thought that really opened things up for him and allowed him to control and dictate to the game more.
Yeah.
Again, also I enjoyed watching Vangel. Was always fun. Watching his moves, we called it the Vangelize, when he'd make the little spin move on people. So I do that to my son in the backyard all the time now. And so here again, I'm sad that he's not going to be coming back, but I really enjoyed watching him play and his engagement with the fans. A lot of these players, when you saw them on the street and you said hey and you waved and you shook their hand, they were always very kind and they were glad to see the support of the folks in town when you did that. So that was always really impressive.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm still a huge fan of Beattie, and outside, of course, I love his play. I love the fight he has. He just has a fighting spirit. Even no matter how far behind they are, he's going to keep pushing. But probably the biggest thing I think and I'm glad they re-signed him, is his leadership. His leadership on the pitch, and then watching him off the pitch. You could tell he is definitely the captain. And
Yes.
that was very evident. The other one I want to mention is Ami Pineda, and I've got to say I think he would win my vote for most improved because I could see a trajectory of when he first started and then he started getting into his zone, didn't maintain that arc though, but I'm seeing a lot of promise, especially we kept getting trapped in the middle, and Willafe's fantastic, but he needed help. And then so I was seeing Ami be able to push through it sometimes. So I'm hoping if Ami, Beatty, and Willafe can be there in the middle, then we really have a lot to look forward to this next year. So.
Yeah, agreed.
I agree. When you look at the players that have been re-signed, it really kind of looks like you're going to see a lot of Ami, Steven, Wally as that midfield triangle. I think the new coach is wanting to be more attacking, so rather than seeing 2 defensive midfielders, you're maybe going to see 2 attacking midfielders.
Yeah.
And I think Wally is built to be that guy that plays in front of the defense, is real tough tackler, going to get that ball and make a quick outlet. And Steven and Ami are going to be able to push the ball up and get something in the attack. That's going to be fun to watch.
I think it's going to really depend on who's there outside of Hurst. Is Hurst going to be a true striker? Are they going to get some wingers with him? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think Jose Soto is coming back, right? And
yes.
I think when you look at what he does on the wing is what I think they'll utilize. Like he was very good. Once again, with Cito Sione, he was really good at working out with him, and it's a little disappointing that those two won't be together.
Yeah.
But I think you can see a similar type thing. I think the biggest part for us, though, when you talk about all these players is, and the coach has mentioned this, we have to shore up the defense to allow for there to be strong attacking, because if you're going to push forward with an attacking style, you have to have confidence in your back four.
Right.
And for me, while I think we saw a significant improvement in Nico throughout the year, and I think having the other players that he brought back, I expect these announcements to be ones that we look at the history of the players they announced, and they're going to shore up that back line, or else the rest of it's pointless.
I'm going to mention, we're going to go to things looking in the future, but another one in the back, he didn't play very often. He played at the very beginning and the very end, and to me has been I'll mention the elephant in the room, a player who's not been announced yet, and would be very disappointed if he's not, and that's Dixon. And if we don't get Dixon, we've got to get someone at his level, because as it stands now, our defense is going to be really hurting. I wouldn't want to go out with the current defense as it is.
Well, we've only announced the two, Nico and Leo.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of. You know of anyone else?
Yeah, no, those are the 2 that have been announced, and they're a good center back pairing of kind of what they did through the season. I think that's probably my favorite. Leo's kind of an enforcer. Nico's kind of a silent assassin. Yeah. Leo's very good in the air. I was very impressed with Nicolas Samponce's ability to slow down a counterattack. When they would get out on a corner, he would slow it down so that they could get back defensively and recover. The wings are where we're missing. Richard Dixon had a lot of experience and he had a lot of skill, and even for someone who is close to 30 years old, or I think might be at 30 years old, he had a lot of speed up and down that wing, was someone that could get into the attack. I remember the goal that he scored in the first game of the season, streaking down the sideline to get that header and put it in and put us at 3-2 against North Texas. On top of all of that, off the field, he's the right kind of leader, someone that's engaging with very engaging with the fans, loves talking to the kids, has been coaching in the Red Wolves Academy, so he loves working in that respect. Is going to be the kind of guy that can captain the defense someone that would help work with Stephen Beatty. But you're not trading a ton of skill or athleticism in putting him out there.
Right, so it's not like you're going in there with a 35-year-old Irishman that may have a dad bod as your main guy to captain your D.
That feels like a subtweet, but
Sorry, Colin.
We love Colin. And we're a little intimidated by you too, Colin.
Incredibly intimidated. But yeah, I think you're exactly right. Like you talk about Beatty being the leader and being in that position. I think you need a leader on both ends. Like when you look at other teams that, whether it be in USL League One, Championship MLS, overseas, typically the best teams have someone that you look at and say, this is the guy who runs their offense, this is the guy who is the guy who's going to get in your face on defense. some of the best years for Arsenal, when you look back, you had that guy that you always knew when things were down, he's going to pop up. So whether it was recent history where you had Santi Cazorla who was going to jump up and do that on the defensive midfielder side, we need that guy. Because I don't know that we can sit here and point when we look at last year, because Dixon was out for most of the year. We didn't really have that. There was a lot of
Right.
and there was no one that you looked at and said, this is the guy who's running things. So
Yeah.
Tony
had his flashes.
Tony had it probably the closest that we had to that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Tony made it very clear defense wasn't what he wanted to be in.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so you start to wonder then, like, if you've got guys playing out of position like that, can they really lead from the back like that? And that's why I think what you're saying makes complete sense. Like, if we don't get Dixon back, which would be heartbreaking, just because we see the talent when he's on the field and we know what he does in the community, we need someone like that. And that's where I said I think the coach really needs to put his focus. I know the things that most fans are looking for is who's that goal scorer, who's that guy that's going to bring in goals. But what wins championships is the confidence in your defense, so that we give up one goal, that's going to be it. We can still attack and go after it.
Right.
When Dixon went down, I could clearly see a drop in ball distribution, because like a pinball machine, it starts in the back and it just sweeps up to the front. And when Dixon went down, they struggled to get the ball forward. And a lot of times, so if you have someone like Dixon who is a leader in the back, whether or not he was bringing it up, but who was making sure not only was the ball being stopped, but it was getting rotated back up front so you can go ahead and move. Hey, this has been Soccer in the South with Wolfman, Jeff, and
SoccerChatt.